Hi, we're back again with more Fat Acceptance TikTok, this time a little less cringe. I know, I'm just as shocked as you are. But we've talked about this before. No movement is 100% a lie. There are usually grains of truth that this toxic ideology actually stems from. We've already explored at length the possible medical fat phobia that can occur in the medical setting. And now we're going to look at some other aspects of that truth. Hi, I'm Lisa and welcome back to my Fat React series where we're going to be reacting to different aspects of health culture. This includes the fat acceptance community, the fitness community, as well as popular health and beauty trends. Today I want you to keep an open mind. And I know I have to when I watch these videos. Especially since some of these TikToks deal with some of those major players that have lied to us before. So believe me when I tell you just how shocked I was to see them actually get something right. I mean, we all know that saying, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So we're going to check out some of these videos, and we are going to do our best to show that we actually are objective when it comes to this topic. Here is the first one.
Genuine question. Do you want fat people to live in closets until they're not fat anymore? Until they're the weight you want them to be? Do you want to put them in a cage and then put a towel over it so they fall asleep like a canary? Do you want us all to move to a leper island together? But dude, I'm asking genuinely. I swear. How healthy does someone need to be in order to earn the right to exist? At what weight? At how many bottles of water they drink a day?
So yeah, I actually really like what she's saying there, because part of what I talk about when we want to encourage obese and overweight people to lose weight is you need to go out and live your life. Because if you go out and live your life, you're going to see that life is worth living, you're going to take better care of yourself, your mental health is going to improve, and it's going to motivate you to want to lose weight. For example, I just got back from Disney World, and I wanted to have a great experience at Disney World, but the last 2 years I was miserable because it was just so hard. I was not fit enough to actually enjoy the experience. And I still have a lot of weight to lose. But this year, for the first time, I wasn't miserable being at Disney. I actually was able to enjoy myself because I was not in as much pain having lost 45 pounds. And it really is an unfortunate thing where I've actually seen influencers and other like random anonymous people on the internet say horrible things about not wanting like fat and obese people to go outside, that they just stay inside and get thin so that they don't have to look at us. And there shouldn't be any gatekeeping when it comes to health and fitness and living your life. It reminds me of this time I was in college, and we were it was back when body positivity wasn't about accepting being morbidly obese. It was more aimed at girls who are at risk of EDs. And we had this counselor come in and talk to us, and it was like a mandatory thing that we all had to attend in the girls' dorm. And she was talking about being a healthy weight. And I was a little bit overweight this time. I was probably in the obese category, but just in there because I had PCOS, but I don't think I had hypothyroidism yet. And but I was really self-conscious about the way that I looked. And I could tell that I was getting less physically fit. I went from being able to run to suddenly not being able to run anymore. It was really weird. And I asked her, I was like, well, how do you know if you're at a healthy weight for you? I mean, I could have just gone to a doctor at that point, but I was too afraid to ask a medical professional at that point, because medical professionals were telling me I was overweight when I wasn't overweight. That's a whole other thing when I look back on it. I was just at the high end of normal, and they were telling me to lose weight, which never should have happened. So I asked her, well, how do you know you're at the right weight for you? And she said, well, you know you're at the right weight when you can do everything that you want to do, and you don't feel physically impacted by it. And I've thought about that so much since then, especially when I used to go hiking a lot in Japan, and I just wished I was more physically fit so I could hike better, right? Faster, more effectively, get up the mountain as fast as I could. And I just always felt so held back. Didn't know I had asthma at the time. Probably would help me if I was using an inhaler. But yeah, and so I think about that now too. There's so many things I want to do in my life that I can't do because of the weight. And so I'm definitely not at the right weight because I want to be able to live my life. And that's bringing me back to her video. It's like, at what weight are we allowed to live our lives? And it's at the weight you need to be at to live your life. I recommend being at a healthy weight. I think you should be at a healthy weight, but the way that you get there is by living your life and seeing those barriers are impacting you. A fat acceptance person might be like, well, then tear down those barriers. I'm like, you are the barrier. You are the barrier to living your life, but nobody else should be contributing to that barrier. And unfortunately, I do see that sometimes. So I know you guys don't do that. You guys are great. But that is something to be aware of, that if you see somebody putting down someone and saying like, or an awful thing like, don't leave your house, you're ugly, you're fat, whatever. You know, you can say, well, it's a good thing if they do leave their house because then they can see what it's like to live their lives. It's so simple, right? Anyways, let's go on to the next video. It is, oh gosh, it's one of our favorite TikTokers of all time, Hannah Talks Bodies. Let's see what she got right this time.
Story time. I've talked before on this page about how I have severe chronic back pain that I've had since I was like 5 years old, and I have done everything imaginable to try to fix this, including having a breast reduction. Now, that might be hard to believe given that I currently have huge boobs, but believe it or not, 6 years ago I did in fact undergo a breast reduction. When I had my first appointment with my surgeon, she asked me what size I wanted my breasts to be, and I told her that I wanted C cups, which was a significant reduction. And she was very surprised by this. She said, "Oh no, that's way too small. Given your weight, that won't look good on you."
You can see the frustration in my face. For the first time, I am not mad at Hannah here. I am mad at this doctor. I can't tell you how many times I have requested something reasonable from a doctor that had nothing to do with my safety or whatever. It was just my comfort. And they're like, but why? But why would you want that when you could have this? Or why would you need this if you could have that? Like where I've said, I'm allergic to this antibiotic. Please don't give me this antibiotic. And they give it to me anyways. And then they're surprised I have a reaction. And it's just, but yeah, I know a lot of women who've had breast reduction surgeries. Take it from me as somebody who has naturally large breasts. It's a thing. It's not because I'm fat. It sucks. Like, it's not the best. I'm hoping that they get a little bit smaller, the more weight I lose, because they're not fun to look around. I know, TMI, sorry, but it's true. And so I can only imagine for someone like her who has very large breasts, I could see why she'd want to go down to a C cup. C cup's still really large. Yes, it may not look proportionate on her, but it is her own body, and it's the own surgery that she's paying for, right? So she's allowed to be as malproportioned as she wants in this regard. Let's see what happens.
And I told her, I don't care, I'm trying to alleviate my back pain. And she sort of let it go for the time being. Then, on the morning of my surgery, she was taking care of all the final details before I got wheeled into the operating room, and she asked me again to confirm what size I wanted. And I told her again, C cups. And she literally responded the exact same way she did before, as if that conversation never happened. She dove into her whole diatribe about how it wouldn't look proportional and it wouldn't be attractive. And again, I told her, I don't care. That's not why I'm doing this.
There's something I also notice about doctors. Where you have conversations with them and they don't remember your conversation. Maybe it's just like a memory thing. I see a lot of clients. Like, I see a lot. And I remember all the conversations I have with the clients, the clients' parents, the clients' teachers. Like, I don't have this issue where I forget these conversations. I don't know what it's like to be in a medical setting like that. But it's weird to me that that's also happened to me where I'm like, no, remember, I can't do that because of this. And it usually involves medication that like causes kidney stones. I'm like, I can't have that. I've had 45 kidney stones. And they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, did you read my chart? The whole thing. So it's not surprising to me that this doctor completely forgot that. Because, you know, when she told her the first time, the doctor should have written it down the chart what she wanted and should not have had to ask her again. And the fact that she didn't means that she didn't respect her opinion in the first place, which is really crappy in my opinion.
So anyway, when I woke up from surgery, I had double D's. Because my pain and my health were not as important to this doctor as my attractiveness.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, there's always a chance that this is not the whole truth, that this is not the whole story. But let's just say it is. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. That's crappy. Doctors should listen to their patients. In an era where you can get anything removed from your body, just having a breast reduction surgery should not be that big of a deal if you want smaller breasts when you have such large breasts to begin with. I've said breasts so many times right now. Yeah, so we feel sorry for Hannah there. And we're going to the next video. And I think it's related to the one that she just did. We'll see. One second.
Hey, so I just wanted to address this comment and all the other comments like it that were basically asking, like, did you sue? You should sue. And I just wanted to clarify that all of this happened about 6 years ago. So I was like 23, 24. So this was long before I really learned how to advocate for myself in the healthcare system. And also just a simple result of internalized misogyny and internalized fat phobia. Like, I blamed myself for it. It took me like a solid year or two before I even realized that like it wasn't my fault and that I was wronged.
It definitely wasn't her fault. I don't know about the obias and the isms that she talked about. Definitely she had a very obtuse doctor who did that to her. And I definitely know what she means when we talk about advocating for yourself in the medical setting. Because it doesn't matter if you're overweight. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. I do think that there are some combinations of such that may give you a poorer experience. But at some point, you're going to run into an issue in the medical setting. It's just inevitable. And you have to know how to advocate for yourself. Some people are natural advocates. I find that most men I've met, they're able to go in and ask for exactly what they want. And I feel like because a lot of women are not as used to being aggressively, for themselves, for whatever reason, they tend to just kind of agree after some pushback. And it took me a long time and a lot of doctors being really annoyed at me for me to say no. And there's so many stories I could tell about that. Saying no to doctors who wanted to do things for me. Surgeries they wanted to perform that were not necessary. Gosh, I told you, I had over 45 kidney stones. And a doctor wanting to do surgery. I'm like, no, I don't need surgery. And I don't even want to consult with you because you're so freaking expensive. And I paid several $100s for that consultation, even with insurance. Where he was telling me I should get surgery and then go on keto. And I'm like, I'm not going to go on keto because all the vegetables you eat on keto cause kidney stones. But yeah, he wanted to open me up and get that stone out. And I was like, look, if you just give me time and a really strong anti-inflammatory, I can push this stone out by myself. And I did. And he also then gave me the antibiotics that caused me to have memory loss for a day. That was not good. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, I really feel for her here. I know what she's talking about. People are like, oh, you should have done this, that. When you're young, you don't know what you're doing. I get that. Some people are really good at it. I have one friend, she's been, since she was really young, able to advocate for herself because she had a long-term autoimmune disease that caused really debilitating side effects. And so she learned very young to do it. And she, even though she was younger than me, taught me how to do it. And I thank her a lot for giving me that experience and giving me that advice. And I wish, Hannah had someone like that as well. Maybe she wouldn't be so angry. I don't know. I'm still angry. So I get it. Let's finish this video.
So anyway, I did not sue. I totally should have. I've since looked into it, and unfortunately too much time has passed. But I did file a complaint with the Department of Regulatory Agencies and the AMA, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if too much time has passed. I mean, it could be. I'm not really sure what statute of limitations are and that kind of stuff. I bet they're not that long. Simply because a lot of people make medical complaints and doctors really need to protect themselves. So yeah, I could definitely see that statute of limitations being really short. Because as careless as many doctors are, we still do kind of need them. I'm always ragging on medical professionals, but in an emergency situation, there are people you'd have to go to. It's just for that routine care that I really wish they would step it up. Okay, we got one more Hannah Talks Bodies. Let's see what she has to say.
There is a saying I see a lot in toxic fitness spaces, which is, you'll never regret a workout. Just do it. You'll never regret it. And I don't know about anyone else, but there are definitely a lot of workouts from my past that I regret. I regret every workout I ever did where I forced myself to do it, even though my mind or my body or both were telling me that what I actually needed was rest. I regret the times when I worked out to the point of pain, tears, injury, or to the point of feeling superior to other people.
I can't speak to the whole superiority thing. Like, I don't go to the gym and be like, yeah, I'm better than everyone else. Maybe some people do. I don't know. I go to the gym and be like, yeah, I feel stronger than last time. Or, oh gosh, I don't feel as strong as I did last time. That's basically the extent of it. And yay, I burn calories. And then also, like, yeah, my muscles are getting stronger. But I totally get what she means about pushing yourself to pain. Because there was this time, and it was like early 2000s to mid 2010s, where like I met so many people who were just so convinced that you could not get a good workout unless you are pushing yourself to extreme pain, which now I know is just crazy. You should not have to be in so much pain to work out. Yeah, you need to feel a little bit of a burn sometimes. You want to like build muscle, or you know, you have a little bit of like exertion when you're doing cardio, but you shouldn't feel like you're going to drop dead and die. And I feel like that's like the whole Jillian Michaels culture of like, you know, working until you drop. And especially when it comes to obese people, like the amount of obese people I've seen who are like pushed past their limit, where their joints were just completely shredded, and their muscles, like they would like pull a muscle, or they would like injure a ligament or a tendon because they worked out too hard. It's like, well, now you're defeating the purpose. Now you've set them back. You're not helping them lose weight if you're injuring them, right? And so those are the workouts I understand that like I regret, where somebody was like, no, just push harder, go harder, and then you injure yourself and you're like, well, now I can't do anything for a few weeks. So there definitely needs to be a lot more care when it comes to helping obese and overweight people work out. Like, we shouldn't be doing burpees, for example. We can't really do push-ups. Like, we have way too much weight on ourselves to like do that kind of stuff. But there are things that we can do. We can walk. We can cycle, for example, on a stationary bike if we so choose. And we can definitely use weight machines. I myself am a big advocate of using weight machines because it really helps to control how much pressure is on your joints, really helps stabilize and isolate those muscles so you're working on one muscle group at a time. And it just really helps prevent injury if you use it all correctly. And that's what's really helped me the most when it's come to fitness. Doing things that are going to help me lose weight, get stronger, but also not injure me. Injury is not worth the risk when it comes to working out.
I regret the times when my workouts were motivated by self-hatred, insecurity, comparison, people-pleasing, or self-punishment. And by the way, all of these scenarios were normal for me, as they are for many people. So if the way that you're moving your body isn't bringing you joy, you can either change the way you're moving your body, or you can just take a break from exercise for a while. Both of those are better options than living a miserable life.
So I don't advocate for taking a break from exercise, but I do think you should do exercise at your own pace. So for example, if you can only start out by exercising one time a week, that's fine. You can build it up over time. There's this story that I tell all the time about this girl that I knew when I lived in Japan. She was from New Zealand. She became a doctor. Surprise, surprise. Hope she doesn't watch this because I'm still friends with her on social media. But anyways, what happened was, I was at her house to watch a movie. It was a great movie. It had Taika Waititi in it. And I had exercised so much the day before. I had gone on like a little mini hike. And I was walking and hiking for hours. And so I was really exhausted. And I felt really proud of myself. I'm like, yeah, I did a good job. I worked out really hard this weekend. And hiking is no joke. Hiking is like, it's cardio for sure, but it's also kind of like strength training because you're physically lifting your body over and over and over again. So there's a lot that goes into it. Your muscles are sore. We're after the movie. She wants to go on a hike in actually in my town. So we're going to drive to my town and go on a hike. And she went to every single person in the room who was at this little movie party. And she was like, hey, we should go on a hike at this mountain in Lisa's town. It's going to be really fun. Goes to the next person. We should go on this hike in Lisa's town. It's going to be really fun. Next person, same thing. Next person, same thing. She gets to me and she says, Lisa, we should go on this hike. It's gonna be exercise. And I just look at her and I'm like, what? And every other person in the room heard it too. So it wasn't just me. They were all like, that's a weird way of phrasing it to her, the only non-fit person in the room. And I just look at her and I was thinking, wow, it's almost nighttime. It's gonna take me way longer to get up that mountain than it's gonna take her to get up that mountain. And I'm exhausted from working out the day before. And I say to her, well, thank you, but, I worked out a lot yesterday, and so I'm kind of over-exercised for this weekend. And she just looks at me and says, well, Lisa, exercise is an everyday thing. And I was just like, I wanted to smack her. I was like, you B-I-T-C-H, what are you saying? And I was, it was awkward. Like, she had like no self-awareness when it came to that. Everybody else heard it. It was like, whoa, cringe. And I just had to politely excuse myself and be like, no, you're not going to essentially bully me into this. She probably didn't see it as bullying, but that was kind of bullying. And I eventually did hike that mountain, but on my own terms when I was ready to do so. And that's perfectly valid. I did make it to the top. I got pictures of myself at the top. It was a great day. It was my birthday weekend. Yeah, it took me like 6 hours, by the way. And it took her probably like 1 hour. But it was just one of those things where it's like, wow, that is not the way to get people to exercise. And that is not the way to motivate people. And also, like, you should not be pushing yourself past a limit where you might injure yourself. So why I wouldn't recommend taking a break from exercise unless you're like in a lot of pain and you're like afraid of risking injury, take like a short break, that's fine. Definitely do it at your own pace, as I said. And don't put yourself in a situation where you regret working out. Do what you are able to do while you can do it. And then build up your strength, build up your endurance from there. Okay, we're going to our next video. Let's check it out. When they say don't eat anything with ingredients you can't pronounce, but you took organic chemistry. I get that. Yeah, I didn't take organic chemistry. I hear it was brutal. Maybe one day I'll challenge myself. But choosing your ingredients when it comes to like looking at processed or whatever food you buy at the grocery store, it's way more complicated than that. Definitely the fewer ingredients, probably the better, but even things with very few ingredients can have kind of harmful stuff in it. One thing I always say to avoid is processed soy. People are getting really confused about this in my comment section. I eat tofu, I have soy sauce, it will occasionally have edamame. I have it sparingly, I don't make it part of my main diet. But those things are not so bad, but it's the processed soy in stuff that's really harmful. It's in everything. So you're getting way more than a serving size if you eat a lot of processed food. So that's something to avoid, especially it's in a lot of bread. But that's 3 letters. Everybody can read soy. And also vegetable oils, which we can also pronounce. So you have sunflower seed oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil, and you have peanut oil, and there's a couple others I can't name off the top of my head, but all those seed and vegetable oils, not so good for you. You'll see those studies that say, yes, they're better for you and they're less inflammatory, but they're going by serving size. Serving size in those studies most of the time. And what we are looking at is the fact that they're in everything. They're in everything. And so you're getting way more in the serving size, and you're getting that every single day if you're eating these processed foods. Once again, you can pronounce those pretty easily. So when it comes to things that you want to eat, if you want something that's normally processed and you buy at the store, my recommendation is just to make it yourself. So in one of the previous videos I did, which was a fat acceptance TikTok reaction, we were watching a woman eat Oreos, and she was like, just try the Oreo, it's not bad. And we're like, well, Oreos actually are bad because they got a lot of really harmful ingredients in them. But a cookie itself, it's not bad if you eat it in moderation. And so I actually made cookies the other day, and it was like a whole thing. I'll talk about it later, but I made way too many. I made like 27 cookies, and I didn't want to eat 27 cookies that were like 200 calories each. So I packed up like 20 of them, and I brought it to work with me, and I gave it out to my coworkers. That was a way to handle it. And I was able to keep the other like 7 cookies just for myself, and I was able to get, that fix that I needed of wanting a cookie. And it was much healthier because I knew what was in it. Yeah, it has sugar. Yeah, it has butter. It has all these things that we traditionally thought is bad. But if you're just having one cookie, that's not bad. If you're having 27 cookies, that's bad, clearly. But I would argue if you have a couple of Oreos, despite the calorie count, that's not good for you because of how processed it is. That's just an example. And we are on to our final video, and it features another favorite TikToker known as the Jock Scientist. Let's see what she has to say. So this thing says, if you're just listening, when people tell me I don't have time to work out, and it bothers me because her name is Lisa, and someone named Lisa saying this. So that's the TikTok that she's reacting to.
I want you to imagine if people were like this with any other hobby. If you really wanted to find time to embroider, you would make it a priority. You want a garden? We all have the same 24 hours in a day, sweetie. Like, guys are so corny. Fitness is so corny. Like, you hear people say, I can't find the time. I don't have the time to do that. And you're like, have you tried making time?
So this is something my friend Alex talks about a lot. And it's like the gatekeeping of losing weight and getting fit. And what he means by that is that people want weight loss and fitness to be brutal, that you have to really earn it. And yeah, it's hard, but it doesn't need to be that hard. It doesn't need to be that hard where it's like, make time. And it's like, sometimes you can only do so much. I recommend you over time try to find places to fit it in, and then eventually make it a priority in your life. But sometimes it's really hard to do everything at once, which is why I don't recommend you do everything at once. When I talk about my diet plan and what I recommend for other people, it's you always start with one thing, and it's usually start eating healthy. Don't even try to lose weight. Just start eating healthy and make sure you're limiting all those different foods. And once you've established those healthy eating habits, then start restricting calories. It's much easier when you're already used to the food that you're eating. You're just now eating less of it. And then once you do that for the next few months, after 6 months total, then you start working and working out. And so you can do this as a process. It doesn't all have to be at once.
Thank you. In my over a decade experience working in fitness, I don't really have time typically translates to, I feel super overwhelmed by this task and I'm already very busy and I don't know where to put it in. Which is incredibly valid. You do not have to list them out for me because I already believe you. We are all fucking busy. My counter encouragement is 1, it's okay if it can't fit in right now. You can make a plan for what the future holds. 2, it is totally okay if exercise is a casual habit for you.
I want to say the two things there that I think are great. So one, she said, it's okay if you can't fit it in right now, make a plan for the future. I like how she's encouraging people that if you can't do it now, make a plan for later. Because I'm so tired of watching fat acceptance activists say things like, you don't have to do it at all. She's suggesting that you just do it later and just start thinking about it. And then she's also saying, it's okay if you can't do it very seriously, but you want to get a casual habit. So what would be like a casual habit? So maybe you don't go every day, maybe you just go once a week. And if that's where you need to start, that's fine. You can build it up over time.
Some movement's always going to be better than none, and casual still has benefits to it.
Yeah, she's right. Some movement has better than no movement. And I especially think when it comes to obese people, the whole risk of injury thing I talked about earlier, it really is a factor. Just having someone start walking and moving their body and getting used to movement is so beneficial, and it's going to put them at such a low risk of injury. It's good it's just better for them in the long term, and then they can rev it up over time, right? I know for me, like I had to work out at the gym one time a week with all that strength training. It's all I could handle because I was so sore, and my joints were always more at risk of because I had that disease we talked about, don't want to talk about it again, that makes them more at risk of popping out. And so the stronger my muscles get, the more times I can go to gym each week. Now I can go to gym twice a week. I'm hoping to get to 3 times a week by May. Almost there. Wish me luck. And it's just something that you have to work on over time. But yeah, that's our reaction for today. I hope you got some new perspectives, that we all learned something, that yes, there's some good advice out there. I wish they didn't have all the other terrible advice that we constantly see and all the lies and all the misinformation. But every now and then we find a grain of truth. And I want to give them credit for that when credit is due. After all, this is a very nuanced take. I'm not going to just hate on someone for the sake of hating on them, right? But believe me, there is more of that to come, because it's the kind of content where you never run out of material. There is a lot out there. It is one deep cesspool of insanity. But yeah, anyways, stay tuned. I got more to come, and you guys have a great day. Bye.